I'm Jenna LaMere, and I am reading That's a Great Question. I'd love to tell you Elyse Myers' book. I am recommending everyone buy this book and listen to her reading of it on whatever she's reading it on. I haven't. This is all new to me so that I can give you my commentary, my reactions as I read aloud, because that is how my neurodivergent brain is able to take in information best. So we are on part, God, I don't remember what it is now because they're not numbered, but it's called Cows, on Purpose. And these are written like more in handwriting versus type. Looks journaly. Okay. August 24th, 2016. I've been here for 2 days. If you would have asked me to point to Kansas on a map a month ago, I would have looked at you and apologized for being geographically inept. Excuse me. I also would have asked you why you needed to know where Kansas is, or why anyone would need to know where Kansas is, except perhaps the Wizard of Oz enthusiasts. Yet here I am in the guest bedroom of the Myers family home in Kansas, somewhere in the middle of the country. That feels specific enough, doesn't it? There are cows like 50 feet away from me, cows that are there on purpose because Jonas and his family own them. I watched one of them get impregnated yesterday by a man with a really long glove. I didn't know if walking away in the middle of it would distract the cow and the man with that long glove. So instead, I just stood still, maybe more still than I've ever stood in my entire life. The last thing I'm going to do is be the person responsible for spooking a cow that's been artificially inseminated. Listen, whether I walked away at that point or not, the memory was already branding itself into the folds of my brain. I decided I had to see it all the way through. I washed that experience down with my first ever glass of honey whiskey. If Jonas was traumatized or impacted by that experience even half as much as I was, he didn't show it at all. More water. The other video from last time just, okay. I'm having a very hard time believing this is actually happening. All of this, everything, it's all so quick. I can't tell if it's too quick or if it's the exact right speed and I'm just scared. The cow thing definitely happened too quickly, but the rest of it, I'm not entirely sure. Part of me wanted to prolong this weird in-between that we've been living for the past few months, where there are 4 states and 1,500 miles of space between us. The part where I still get to be everything he thinks I am, and maybe even more. The part where if we break up, there's nothing at all to break. I was so scared I would spend 5 days here and he would eventually realize I'm not as he imagined I'd be. What if I let him down? I have a million different versions of myself that I wear for the benefit of others, but with Jonas, none of them seem to fit. 5 days is a very long time to pretend, and the weird thing is I don't know if I even want to pretend. When I'm with Jonas, all of these alternative versions of myself feel like a mask I'm suffocating under. I care less about look and more about the way that I feel when I'm around him. That's exactly why I'm scared, because every other person who's walked away from me has been walking away from a version of me that barely exists. But I'm not pretending with Jonas. Okay, now I'm gonna get emotional. Because Patrick is the first person, my guy right now, right now is my forever guy, my person. He's the first person that I've been able to fully unmask with. And I'll tell you, there's just something to it. There's something so deep about the person that sees every part and encourages that mask to come off. And he doesn't want pretense. He doesn't want the masked version. And I don't know. I didn't know that I was going to get emotional about that, but I understand when you're I think when you're with the person you're meant to be with, that's the big thing that you'll feel inside, not a rush of passion or chaos. I mean, sometimes those things are there too, but the real thing where it settles in is a feeling of safety. And the reason that it feels so safe is because it's the real you. And the real you is the only part of you that feels safe. So if you can feel like the real you unmasked with someone, you can feel safe with someone, and then you're showing up as yourself. So they can show up as themselves, and then you're aligned. And then whether that journey of alignment takes you on the same trajectory or only a few stops, if you're authentic along the way, you will only ever know that if you part, you'll part in love. That's what I believe. Doesn't mean I think if people part that it won't hurt, but it also, you can part in love. I had a lot of relationships that I did not part in love. It only parted in hurt. So it's good to know, even though I fully intend on Patrick being my person until our deathbeds, whatever that means, I do know that if it did go in another direction, I could never not love him. Yeah. I love him so much. Why hasn't he texted me yet? He's on his way to a show tonight up near Seattle, and he usually texts me right when he gets there. Let's see, he left at 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, he really should be here by now. Let me text him. Are you there yet? All this love thing makes me touched. Okay, so now we'll just wait. I'm waiting for dots, but anyway, okay. Wow, I just like went off and got really teary. All right, so where are we back here now? God, I feel like so, okay, here it is. But I'm not pretending with Jonas. I'm not even sure I can. If that means if he leaves, he's leaving me. If he stays, he's choosing me. Why do both of those outcomes scare me so much? When Jonas first asked me to come to Kansas, I said I needed time to think about it. He understood. Who wouldn't need time to think about a decision like that? I mean, other than him, he just seems so sure about me all the time. How can he be so sure? As I drove home from Tessa's, I realized that if I was actually considering spending the week with Jonas, it would probably be good time to fill my mom in on who Jonas is, or, that he even exists. I definitely hadn't imagined our first conversation about him ending with, and I think I'm flying to Kansas for a week to see him. I'm not sure what it says about me that my mom was less surprised by what's happening here than I was. Am I really the only person that thinks this is at least a little bit crazy? God, you guys, I've had crazy ways of meeting guys and lots of flying, not knowing each other on the internet stuff, but that's for me to write a book about. Between Tessa's and my mom's reactions, I seem to be the outlier here. I mean, objectively speaking, this is a little crazy. Am I missing something? Can it really be that simple? Even Jonas's parents don't seem to be fazed by my being here, a near stranger sleeping in a spare bedroom in their basement, spending 5 days in their house to test drive their son for a potential future together. I need at least one person to confirm that this is sort of, if not completely nuts. I thought about Jonas the rest of the day after he asked me to fly here to Kansas. I tried to go on a run to clear my head, but I only made it about a half a mile before sitting down on a park bench and reading through his messages one more time. The 20th time through didn't uncover any information I hadn't already learned from the first 19 times I read them. But reading the words that Jonas wrote made my chest feel a little less tight. I walked back home, took a shower, then spent the rest of the night reading his messages. Late that night, I called Jonas to tell him my decision. Me. I guess I'll see you in Kansas. Jonas. Are you serious? You're really coming? Me. Of course. Who would turn down a free trip to Kansas? I tried my hardest to infuse the same level of enthusiasm that my mom and Tessa both seemed to have about free vacations to the middle of nowhere. After we stopped laughing, Jonas said the very best and most perfectly right thing anyone could have ever said to me in that moment. We aren't in high school anymore, Elyse. I like you. I want to be with you. I'm not going to pretend I don't. I want you to be as sure about me as I am about you. That can't happen if we aren't in the same place for at least a few days in a row. So even if you get here and you realize you don't like me as much as you originally imagined, at least I got to have 5 beautiful days with you. When he was done speaking, every atom of pressure that I felt slowly crushing me from the inside out suddenly evaporated. When we hung up the phone, I wrote down every word I could remember from our conversation so I'd be able to keep it forever. Between that and his text, I decided I might just print everything he sends me and place it all in a binder, a makeshift book I can read to myself about a boy from Kansas who likes me more than he probably should. Even if we don't end up together, I always want to remember what this feels like to be wanted by Jonas Myers this much. Elyse Myers has a pretty good ring to it. Oh my God, stop. Did I just write that? Oh my gosh. Oh, these like early love type things. Oh, it's like my favorite thing in the world. Patrick and I met on Plenty of Fish, and we had some good texty kind of banter and then met up. And I'm kind of a jump right in person. Like we spent pretty much the whole, like probably 12 hours a day of the first full weekend together. Did I stay the night then? I don't think I did because I was dog sitting or whatever, but it was one of those I woke up and then was with him the whole next thing. So I was just sold. At the end of the weekend, it's like, this is my person. And he was not. He was so coming off of just healing and just kind of barely dipping his toe in after a divorce and like dating other people that just didn't work out or whatever. And he was definitely more in the casually dating zone. And I was I'd spent kind of a good year off and already had done a lot of the dating casually stuff, which reminds me to the only other commentary I want to do about this is that while I was in the more casually dating area, I remember going out to lunch with this girl, and I randomly, this guy that I had gone on a few dates with, that I think both of us knew we weren't each other's person, but we were sort of like filling time dating between whatever the people would be. But he said, "What are you doing this weekend?" or whatever. Or what this guy, hold on. So anyway, I said, I don't have plans, and he had a business meeting in Vegas, and he's like, do you want to go to, or he goes, can I have I think my social or something. Like, this is crazy that I did this, but I said I was free, and like it was one of those, okay, well, I got you a plane ticket, and I think it was nearing 4 p.m. and I'm out like having lunch or whatever with this girl, and her and I were a new friendship, so we didn't know each other very well at all. And oh, good, Patrick just said he's loading in. Oh, good, he's there safe. So she and I are having this lunch, and I look down at my text and I go, oh, this guy just bought me a plane ticket apparently, and I'm leaving to Vegas for the weekend, and I think my plane was something like 6:38 or 6:48 or something, and it's like almost 4. And you know how sometimes you're supposed to be at the airport like a couple hours ahead of time? So I had to go, like my sandwich had just come or whatever, and I'm like, I gotta go. And so this girl's like, wait a minute. There's this guy you barely know that you just gave your information. He just is flying you to Vegas in like less than 3 hours. And I go, yeah, and I don't even have any clean underwear. And I didn't even have like laundry done. So I had to like go home, put in at least like laundry. Like I can't, and like got my brother to take me to, it was like one of the craziest things within like a whirlwind of time. I'm then in business class on a plane because you know what it was is I think I put on Facebook something like, anybody free this weekend, or like but I didn't know that anyone would bite, and if they did, I thought that they would just want to go out to lunch and those kind of things. I did not think I was going to get. And so then he just like, it was one of those almost like Pretty Woman things. Oh wait, it wasn't like a prostitute. Yeah, no, he wasn't like paying. I'm just like, I had to think about that. Like, wait a minute. No, it was normal. But anyway, like, it was really, really fun to be able to have a full experience and go out to dinner and just do all of the fun things. I know that right now this is really sounding bad, but it was just normal date stuff. It wasn't like smash depression. Oh, but yeah, we saw all the shows and did a lot of taxi, so I didn't even have to walk. It was really fun to have like an all expenses paid vacation. So yeah, it was great. So I've actually had someone buy a flight for me for a weekend. So that's my tidbit on that one. Okay, that's enough of this one. Here's another water break, and we're gonna do the paper airplane back to California next. I somehow knew that paper airplane was gonna come back at some point. Okay, so stay tuned.